You're welcome to Issues About Life and Religion.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Hit that subscribe button.
Sexual intercourse is not just about the intercourse, it has to do with extracourse as well. Before there could be intercourse, then there must be extracourse.
Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. I am your host, Kwesi Ado Sampon. You're welcome to Issues About Life and Religion.
Hi, I'm Bryson. Hey, I'm Noah. Please subscribe now. Please subscribe now.
Hello there, this is KAS Media. You're welcome to our podcast series, Issues About Religion and Life. It's a weekly podcast that seeks to discuss the impact of our belief system on our way of life as we seek to make meaning of our existence in our environment. As Socrates rightly said, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. My name is Kwesi Ado Sampon. Today we have a very important topic, and the topic is, what is the role of sex in marriage? To help us discuss this, we have God's choice, a great man of God, a pastor, a counselor, and a lecturer in counseling psychology, a colleague of mine in the same Department of Theology, Central University, Accra, Ghana. And so you're welcome, Reverend Dr. Aaron Ejay.
Thank you, Doc.
It is a great honor to host you on my podcast.
I'm also pleased to be on this program.
All right, this topic, you are the right person to discuss this topic, because apart from the fact that you teach family counseling and all the counseling issues, you also do clinicals?
Do counseling. Clinicals, then we'll have to medicate, but I do not medicate.
You don't medicate, so you do the counseling. Okay, so what is sex? When we say what is sex?
Now, sex is a broad word in terms of our understanding. So we pick it up from the perspective of sex being a biological differentiation between a male and a female. That is where you are able to identify that this person is a male and that person is a female. So they are different sexes. Now, when we talk of sex, then we are looking at now sex in marriage, sexual intercourse. Now, when we talk of sexual intercourse, it goes beyond the biological differentiation of male and female. Now, it has to do with two people coming together, living together in a marital relationship and engaging in conjugation. Now, sexual intercourse is not just about the intercourse, it has to do with extracourse as well. Before there could be intercourse, then there must be extracourse. With the extracourse, it deals with the kissing, the caressing, the foul play, playing with the breast, the masturbating, the oral issues that go with sex. Then, when those things have been well done, then it makes easy for penetration, because at that point, then the pussy is ready and well lubricated for penetration. So, sexual intercourse is not just, sex is not just about the intercourse, it also has to do with the extracourse as well.
Well, I know that a lot of my viewers may be hearing the word extracourse for the first time. And as Dr. Aaron explained, the extracourse is all the other activities that a couple do together before actual penetration. And he gave like sucking the breast, like touching, like kissing, and all the other things. And he said it's very important because that is what causes the vagina to be lubricated for easy penetration. And so that is sex. And this is a Christian program, of course, so we're not going to talk about other kinds of sex. We're just talking about sex within the marriage between a man and a woman. I hope you understand. I mean, there are other kinds that we're not talking about. Reverend, is that right?
Yes, that is right. Because from the Christian perspective, then we are looking at heterosexual relationship and not homosexual relationship.
Exactly.
So if it has to do with the Christian perspective, then it basically and purely will have to maintain the heterosexual relationship. And there are a couple of things that makes intercourse to be an enjoyable situation and not a task to be done. That is when one has been able to manage the external stresses very well, then it makes penetration to be enjoyable, sex to be enjoyable. Now, when we talk of stress, which also influences sexual intercourse, then we are looking at one's emotional and physiological response to a challenging event or to a threatening event. Sometimes a couple of external issues may affect the individual's mental status, which will now affect sexual intercourse within the marital relationship.
Okay, that is a very great point that you are making. And I think that we need to pick something from this particular issue that you have brought out, that the external stresses can inhibit sex.
Sure.
And these external stresses you have aptly explained or defined as all the issues that people have to deal with.
Yes.
That brings a challenge in their life and impinges upon their emotional and their mental well-being that they have to do. These are the stresses that if these are not properly handled can inhibit sex within the marital relationship.
Sure.
All right. I believe that a lot of people will have a lot of questions to ask, and since this is not live, if you have any question, kindly put it at the comment section. If you have any contribution, put it at the comment section. And this goes without saying that all this great thing we are discussing and all the others we have done, they are for your good, for your benefit. So make sure that you make a comment. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. That's your only help that you can give to us. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when we upload, you will hear. Thank you very much. And we will continue with Dr. Aaron Ajay, a lecturer in counseling psychology in Central University. Dr. Ajay, so when you were talking about defining the externals, you also added masturbation. What is masturbation and how is that part of a relationship or conjugation between a man and a woman who are married?
Now, in a marital context, couple of times people may want to reach orgasm, which becomes a challenge, especially when the other person is the reason I started with the issue of stress.
Yeah.
Now, when the other person is stressed and the other person is not being proactive enough, especially in our part of the world, not many men are that romantic. We always have the misconception that sex is just about penetration. So they go in straight and they just move in and then try to penetrate. Sometimes the woman is not really ready and is not well tuned for that occasion. So they force their way into the vagina. When they are done, in 2-3 minutes, they are done. They just go on and sleep. Not thinking of how the other person has been able to imbibe that act very well and how the person's body has been ready physiologically to accept him at that point. So what the other persons do is they try to masturbate to get themselves into the act very well. Now, some of the men also do that. The unfortunate thing is that masturbation could also be addictive, because at a point when the mind tells you go for it, you go for it. Now, at a point the body will say, if you don't do it, there's no way I can stand. Then it becomes addictive. So every little chance the person has, then he or she will want to do it. So in a marital context, it is quite challenging, especially within the Christian marital context. However, we may have to look at how best do we prepare the mind towards sexual intercourse, especially for the men, preparing the minds of the women to get to that level, because sex is not just about the physiological penetration, it's about the mind game, getting the mind to be ready for penetration. So how do you even relate with the wife? Whether the home is rigid or flexible, do you communicate? If you're not communicating enough and the person needs to reach orgasm, then she will find a way to get to that state, and that is where masturbation comes in. Though they may not want to do it, but then it gets to a point where the man himself is not ready to make things happen. He has made the home to be more or less like a war zone. And if the home is a war zone, then the home is not romantically oriented every day.
So you are bound to get casualties in the war zone.
Sure.
I want to stress a point. You alluded to that fact that somebody, I've read it somewhere, that for the woman, the brain, the mind, is the biggest sex organ. Is that true?
Yes, it is. The mind is the biggest sex organ. I mean, that's why I said initially that it is not just about the physiological penetration. Getting the mind ready. How do you leave home in the morning? Do you hug your wife? Sometimes a good kiss before you even leave home. Sucking on the breast a bit before you leave home. How do you leave home? When you go out there, engaging in your normal activities, how often do you even reach out to your wife, maybe for 30 seconds or a minute? And there is something I've been saying time with that number. When was the last time a man even stepped out and then rang the wife? And then the moment she responds, I just called to say I love you. Hardly do we do that, even to send, oh, I've missed you. Can't wait to meet you this evening. It's going to be great tonight. If all those things do not take place, it becomes difficult. How often do Ghanaian men even compliment their wives after a good meal? They say, thank you, my dear, that was good. I mean, the mind of the woman is different from the man in terms of sexual intercourse. So the man will have to work on the mind of the woman. I mean, your wife dresses and she looks good, say, oh my God, this is a replay of Naomi Campbell coming to town, and I've never seen such before. Complimenting her. When you do that, then the mind is ready for you, because like it's been said time with that number, or the popular cliche that women have itchy ears. If they have itchy ears, you need to embellish whatever you say to get the body ready for that occasion.
This man got game. He has words. So, thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Aaron Ajay.
You're welcome, Doctor.
So, why is sex so important in marriage?
Great. In as much as all other things are essential in marriage when it comes to, in fact, it's the icing on the cake on the marriage. It is for that reason when people get married after 2 years, there is no consummation. When I talk of consummation, I'm talking about when there is no penetration, then the marriage becomes voidable. It means that even the law recognizes that sex plays an integral part of a marital relationship. Sex brings about bonding between the couple, because the moment you're not bonding, then you begin to drift apart. If you're not having enough sex in your home, and that is relative, enough sex is relative. I cannot tell you have 3 times or 4 times or 5 times or 100 times within a week. No. However, what brings you together more often, sex should be a part of it, and sex plays an important role in bonding. If you're not having enough sex, you begin to drift apart. Apart from that, after easing tension, it also relieves the individual's stress levels. It makes you calm down. And the good thing is that for men, when a man has good sex and enjoys the act, when he's done, you give him a cup of Milo, he will sleep like a royal python. So it becomes more or less like a panacea to insomnia, where if you're unable to sleep, you have it, you have a cup of Milo, you sleep like a royal python, sleep like a wood, you sleep very well, good sleep. That if for those who have challenges to sleep, please, have good sex with your wife, and enjoy your sleep. However, if you're not doing that, and you are drifting apart, then you begin to have some cardiovascular challenges within yourself, because you begin to think of unnecessary issues. And when you think of unnecessary issues, then that is where you have your systolic and diastolic pressures rising. The thoughts about each other is, then trust begin to get lost. Then one may be thinking that the other person is getting it from other places or another place, for which he or she is not making it happen within the marital context. So sex even enhances trust in a marital relationship.
We've given a lot of stuff. The first thing I see about the importance of sex in marriage from what you're saying, what Dr. Ajay is saying, is number one, it brings bonding between the couple. And if they are not having enough, or if they are not having it, then there is a breaking apart, a drifting apart. And because of that drifting apart, trust can also be lost, because if you are not having it at home, then it's possibility that you're having it outside. So trust. Then you also said that sex can also bring a relief of tension. That means that looking at stress can really inhibit your sex drive. And yet, if you're able to have good sex, it can also lower your stress level.
Yes. Okay.
And you talked about the fact that pressure, a person's pressure, can also go high because it's not having enough sex. And so all these are benefits of having sex within the marriage. And the reason why we keep stressing within the marriage is that this is a Christian program, and while sex is very good in the context, the viewpoint of Christianity, it is supposed to be in the security, within the security of marriage, not outside of marriage. So if a person is not married, he has to wait until he's married. That is the Christian point of view. So, what are the issues that fight against wholesome sex in marriage?
It has to do with communication, lack of communication. Sometimes you think you are communicating, but we are only murmuring. We are only yelling at each other. When we are not talking to each other, if there is an issue that comes up and the one party is not happy with it, the party should be ready to tell the person that I'm not really happy with this. I mean, package your message very well and relay the message rather than keeping it, because the more you keep it, one day there will be an implosion, an explosion. And when there is not communication, enough communication, it affects sex. Now, abuse also affects sex in marriage. Abuse. More of the time, we are privy to the physiological ones, the physical ones. Those ones are very evident. But then the emotional abuse. When the woman prepares meal, you don't want to take it because of an issue that has happened, which has not been resolved. And then you not talk to her for 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. She talks to you, you don't respond. If there is something you need, you send her a text message. When you do that, it inhibits the sexual drive, because she's not even ready for you and you're also not ready for her. It is only when you want it that you go for it. When you do that, you are giving self yourself. You do not really enjoy it, because it takes two to tango. Now, these emotional ones destroy the sexual ability of the two. Now, then there's economic issue.
Okay, let me pause and then, because what he's trying to say, I'm the interpreter. He has the knowledge. I'm the interpreter. So what he's trying to say, the first one was communication.
Yes.
Without real communication, the sex can calm down. The sex drive will calm down. And what is communication? He said a lot, but what I do remember is that you can be speaking without communicating, And communicating is sharing of the mind. And we have verbal communication. We also have non-verbal communication. Women are very, very, very intuitive. And if you're angry and you talk to them, no matter how you lower your voice, they will know you are angry because of your non-verbal cues that you give. And so we need to have good communication. If you are not happy about something, it is better to say, I'm not happy about this in a calm way, so that you not shout at, but you really do the communication. It's very important. Then he also spoke about unresolved conflicts that we let it brew for a long time. Then we keep communicating with text messages, and we are not talking to one another. I think the Bible said that don't let, it said be angry, but don't sin. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. It means that if I have an issue with you today, we should solve it today. We should not wait until tomorrow. So being angry is not sin. But sinning is not resolving the issue at the appropriate time. So these are the 2 points that he has given, things that inhibit wholesome sex in marriage. Now continue.
Great. Then sometimes you have marital rats. That is when people become bored sitting in their own room every other day, watching the four corners, watching the same people, the same furniture set every now and then. Now, it is important that people will have to learn, marital persons will have to learn to step out once in a while, have fun outside, relax, and then talk about the old times, how they got together. Sometimes women also bring about some of the issues that destroy the sexual life in a marital relationship. In this postmodernist time in Ghana, more of our women are economically empowered than the men. Some of them are placed in higher positions. Now, men are such that men are egoistic. If you're an IGP in your office, if you're a managing director, if you're a chief justice, wherever you are as a woman, when you come home and you still want to bring back nature into your marital relationship, man, as egoistic as he is, would always want to fight back. So there is always an issue of aggression and friction. And when that happens, one cannot have that good sexual relationship that one is craving for. There is also the issue of household chores.
I think before we go to household chores, talking about the roles the man and the woman plays, I think Paul put it in Ephesians chapter 5 very well, about the man loving the woman, that is feeding her emotionally, and the woman respecting the man. So it looks like the psychological need of the woman is affirmation of is love, is cherishing.
Yes.
The psychological need of the man is the respect. And so if you don't feed the man his respect, because you are a big woman in the office, there is this tension there. And if the man doesn't also admire, cherish, show love, show kindness, feed the emotion of the woman, there is also a challenge there. And this can also destroy the wholesome sexual activity in the family.
Yes.
Okay, now you are
great. Additionally, you could look at even Ephesians 5, and fortunately or fortunately, more of a time during marriage ceremonies, the ministers will start from 22, so women submit, forgetting about the 21. Yes, submitting to each other in reverence of Christ. So women submit. That is, men, love your wives as Christ loved the church and sacrificed for the church. Now, women are supposed to be helpmates. Now, for the helpmates, and it means you are the main driver. And then you have someone coming to help you and then collect your money for you either in a trotro or in a bus. Now, she has so much to do in terms of household chores. You see a marital man seated one corner, not bothered about what is being done. That sometimes when the women are under the weather, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if she has malaria, the laundry is packed. It will have to wait for the woman to recover. while the man can easily do the laundry. In fact, it doesn't change your name, it doesn't change your status when you do laundry. When you wash dishes, it doesn't change your status as well. What it does is that it brings some flexibility that you don't even request for sex, it is given to you. Because her burden has been lessened. But when she has to do all these chores, and then in the bedroom also, you are demanding sex. And when you demand and you are not having it because she's fatigued, she's stressed up, then you begin to quote, the Bible says women submit. But you have forgotten that it says submitting to each other in the fear of Christ.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Hit that subscribe button.
Hi, I'm Bison. Hey, I'm Noah. Please subscribe now. Please subscribe now.